every single one of us that's here today and across the planet is here with a unique message and something they can share that will help other people.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about how you got where you are and the shifts you had to make to get you and I know you've gone through a couple of them in a couple of industries, but where you are right now?
Yeah, well, I heard Karen mention a near-death life experience, and I didn't, although I've had cancer a few times, had both doctors in both situations tell me to go home and get my affairs in order, but I'm happy and healthy. But really, everything that I do in all these different industries, and when I have shifted, comes from what I learned when I lost both my husband, who was 28, and my mother, who was 51, when I was 25. And they were each diagnosed with terminal cancers. My husband was leukemia. He'd returned home from Vietnam. We were so glad that he was all in one piece and healthy. But ironically, and we didn't even know at the time that he received the diagnosis of leukemia, is that it was a result of Agent Orange. So he really did die as a result of Vietnam. But what I learned really early on at the age of 25, because they were diagnosed and passed within 9 months, from beginning to end, my life completely changed. It was a shift I didn't ask for. My inner guidance, my belief in God, my belief that the universe is for me, not against me. I took one step from the small Western Pennsylvania town that I grew up in and moved across the country to Southern California and started over again, and just opportunity after opportunity presented itself. So when we are open and when we believe it's possible, those shifts will happen, because the businesses that I did, I was selling, this is really dating me, how old I am, but I was selling microcomputers before anybody knew what they were. And of course, now they're everyday tools. We're doing Zoom calls on them right now. I didn't know, didn't have any education in the computer marketplace, which we would now call computer science. When I started my coffee shops, nobody in Southern California had ever heard of Starbucks, and neither had I, until the architect that I was working with, their main headquarters were in Seattle, and said, oh, you should really fly up there and have our main office walk you around to Seattle's Best and Starbucks and look at the kiosks that they're creating. I self-published when nobody was self-publishing, let alone a 4-color cloth hardback embossed dust jacket book. I mean, the hardest thing anybody could even do today. And in all 3 cases, I had no training or education to do any of those. I just believed that I could. And I believed that I could figure it out along the way. Fear will be the biggest block, not the lack of how to or knowledge. So that's the biggest shift. Is I learned a hard lesson. I could have stayed back in small town Pennsylvania, remarried. I always wanted to be a mother and have a family, and I never had that. But look at the gift on the other side of that. I've lived a very rich life, and I now help other entrepreneurs write their books that they will be remembered for, and they come to me for the writing of the book. But what they get is the transformation. So if I hadn't been willing to reinvent myself so many times, I wouldn't be able to help other people when they're doing it. And every single one of us that's here today and across the planet is here with a unique message and something they can share that will help other people, because it comes from our life lessons learned. The book that I self-published that I was referring to earlier was published in 2001. It's called The Land of I Can, An Adventure in Life. And I would like to do a quick story, if I could, Anna, so that everybody understands how this happened. Mm-hmm. And that everybody kept telling me I should write a book. And it was because I had these successes, one after another, with no background, no education, no reason that any of these things should not only be successes, be wild successes. And I was like, why would anybody want to read a book written by Susan Gilbert? I'm not a celebrity. I'm not CEO of blah, blah, blah company. And so I went to a conference. It was called the Awakened World Conference in Palm Springs in 1999. And there was Dr. Michael Beckwith and Barbara Marx Hubbard. And like all the names are escaping, but you think of a name in the New Age marketplace in the world, and they were there. Jean Houston. And so for 2 days, and it was a pretty small group, I know it was less than 100, I was just immersed in the information that they were conveying, just like everybody here has been immersed over the last few days. There was singing, there was dancing. So you can understand from a vibrational standpoint where I was on that drive home from Palm Springs back to San Diego. And I started to hear these words bouncing around in my head. When I walked in, this was still the days of paper and pen. I pulled out some paper to write on and a pen. And I wrote down exactly what I heard in my head so I wouldn't forget it. And then I went to pick up my 2 little Yorkies that were being house set by a friend and came back and never looked at it again until the next morning. And when I read it, I was like, I don't know what this is. Is this an outline for something else? So I faxed it. Again, shows you how far back, but I faxed it to the man that I was dating at the time, very successful singer. And he called me. I said, what do you think this is? And he called me and he was crying. He said, where did you get this? And I quickly told him the story. He said, don't change a thing. And I was like, well, okay, what does that mean? And I looked up on my bookshelf and I collect children's books. And I looked at the words that were on each page. And I began to imagine if I laid out these words that had come to me on a page with illustrations that would support the message, what would that look like? Most children's books are 52 pages. And when I sat down with my little stick drawings, I came up with 52 pages. And that's what I'm going to read to you right now. It is The Land of I Can, an Adventure in Life. And I invite you, close your eyes if you feel comfortable and just absorb. In the land of I Can, there are no barriers, no limitations. The words I can't do not exist. If you lived in the land of I Can, what would you be doing today? What does your soul ache to do? You can. Anyone can. You just have to go to the land of I Can. It's not far. Come with me. Let's go. You want directions, you say? Here's a map. You choose where to begin. You may pass through many lands to get to the land of I Can, or you can go straight there. The journey may be swift, or the journey can take a lifetime. It's up to you. You know you're in the land of apathy when everything is dull, when every day begins the same and ends the same, and you just don't care anymore. Does life have no meaning? Who cares, you say? It doesn't have to be this way. Pick one thing that you have always wanted to do. Just one. Believe you can. Just believe. Now trust it can be so, and take one step. It doesn't have to be a big step. In fact, small steps are better. You'll have more fun along the way. What one step can you take towards that one thing you have always wanted to do? Oh, you ask yourself what, not how, not when, just what, and take the step. Oh, you ask yourself how. You ask yourself when you've landed in the land of fear. Do you feel frozen, unable to move? Fear is holding you, stopping you from realizing your dreams. Breathe. Good. Now exhale. Life doesn't exist without fear. To be fearless is to have less fear and to move. Don't worry about how. Don't worry about when. These questions will keep you stuck in the land of fear. Just trust it can be so and take that one step. But when, you ask? Now. One step at a time. Move towards that one thing you have always wanted to do, and the universe will move with you. Trust. Believe. Step off the edge. You won't fall. You really won't. Honest. Do it. You are supported. Do that one thing and take a step. If you are in the land of sorrow, know that this too is a part of life. Cry your tears. Feel your sadness. This will not last. To feel your sadness now will allow you to feel joy tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. To hold back will turn sorrow into a weight you cannot carry. Loss comes in all kinds of packages. Take off the wrapping and it all looks the same. Trust, then just let go. To let go is to admit powerlessness. Yes, that is true. Yet to let go is to fear less and to love more. Let go. Step beyond the land of sorrow. Oh, you're trying to control the outcome, aren't you? That's how you have arrived at the land of ashes. But don't feel guilty. It's okay. Just let go. You can begin anew. Sometimes there must be a death before there is rebirth. Rise from the ashes. Don't just fly, soar. You can build whatever you want. What is that one thing that your soul longs to do? Be still and listen for your truth. Then trust, believe, know that you can. The power is in the knowing. First see it, then believe it, then know it can be. What? Just ask yourself, what? Then take one step. You have arrived. Was that so hard? You took one step and you believed, and that's all it took. Now look around. Life is luminous, rich, alive, filled with light. Guess what? That light is coming from you. Follow that light. It's your heart's desire. Do what makes your heart swell. Feel yourself expand and grow. In the land of I can, one thing leads to another, and another, and another. One step. It only takes one step. Live. Remember. Know that you can.
Thank you so much, Susan. I love that book. That's a life journey that you've just described to us. A
Yes.
cycle in the life journey, actually, not the journey. That's the cycle. That's the cycle we're all going through.
I wrote it in a childlike way, pulling from my children's books, intuitively knowing that by doing this, because it wasn't something I knew or I'd read about or I'd studied, intuitively I knew that if people could get back to that childlike place of curiosity and this simplicity. Neil Donald Walsh gave me the most wonderful testimonial. He said, the greatest wisdoms come in the simplest packages. So it is with the land of I can. Because we as adults can overcomplicate things. So I wrote it to be in that childlike state, thinking that women will buy this for themselves and women will gift it to other women. And it was in all of the San Diego bookstores. It was in Hallmark stores. It was in gift shops. And I got a phone call from Borders, a big bookstore at the time, who wanted to know if I could get 250 copies of the book down to their store immediately, like the same day. And I said, sure, but when I bring it down, would you tell me who ordered it? I'm just curious. I know that you're going to be the one to deliver it. When I got there, they said it was the San Diego Unified School District that had ordered it. A woman by the name of Elaine Fink, who was the executive director of the Unified School District, had been gifted a copy of The Land of I Can from a friend of hers. And she wanted to gift a copy of The Land of I Can to all of the principals. There are 250 principals, 250 schools, for the first in-house conference, because they were going to be navigating change. She did that. And then I started getting phone calls from the elementary schools placing orders. And I said, well, why do you want to use it in the elementary school? Because we're dealing with what I think are adult topics in the book. And she said, oh, we're using it for character development. There's no way, when I was willing to show up as a messenger. As you know, I'm messengers on a mission because I love working with messengers. But I had no way of knowing that when I accepted the message that came through me, and I decided I could be the messenger for that message, I would never have believed that that could be the outcome. And that's just one of many stories, because books do carry a vibrational level.